My name is Patrick Otellini. I am the National Affordable Housing Director at Swinerton Builders. I oversee all our new business around the country and all of our offices as we really try to figure out our best way and what role we can play in combating the housing crisis. So I think we're faced with unique challenges today that are very different than the challenges that we were faced from the last century. But what I think is important is you mentioned the Great Depression and the policies that we developed as a country that were really problematic and did not treat every citizen in our country fairly. I think what's really important for us now is to think about what the new face of housing looks like. This is a crisis that doesn't just hit our urban centers. It hits our rural parts of our country. It affects every American citizen on multiple levels. So I think it's really our duty, in no matter what line of work you're at, to be thinking and consciously about how we house not only the most vulnerable in our community, but how do we create opportunities at every step of the housing ladder to allow people to realize their own version of the American dream. I think homeownership is a very complicated construct. I think it provides the foundation for generational wealth building. And I think it is so important for the opportunity for folks to be able to own their own home, for that to be spread as wide as possible, to open the doors as wide as possible with as many opportunities in terms of preferred financing or whatever those mechanisms may be, to make sure that we can not only have a place to call home today, but we can be thinking about future generations to come in our own families and to be able to help build that generational wealth. At Swinerton, we have a rich culture of being invested in the communities that we serve at the local level. We may be a national builder, but we really act like a regional builder next door that's in the community, helping people at every level. When we started really focusing our efforts in the affordable housing space, it was a natural pivot for us. It was not a hard pivot to do because we were already partners with so many of these organizations that were deep in the trenches, fighting the fight in the housing crisis. So for us to partner with them, that's how we get this work done. Our expertise as a general contractor is just one piece of the puzzle. You have to have a full team of folks really dedicated to the mission of providing more opportunity and more affordable housing for our communities. So having a strong labor pool is a big concern for any general contractor these days. And I think working with our community partners to make sure that we are hiring as many people from the local community as possible to build our projects is hugely important and a very deep part of our culture as a company. We've been invested for years in developing our workforce, and not only for the people that work for us, developing our subcontractor partners as well, our suppliers. That rich community is what comes together and gets these buildings built efficiently. So I think there's a lot that's changing in the conversation around affordable housing. I think some of those conversations are around density. I think we're okay now building larger buildings in our major urban areas that serve affordable housing needs. And I think what that means is that if you're able to build a larger building, you're able to leverage that property a bit more and get those costs per unit under control. All of a sudden, these buildings that didn't pencil can start to pencil. So I think that's an interesting conversation that's playing out differently in every city, but people are talking about density and they're trying to find ways to take that density, harness it to be able to produce not only more market rate housing, but more affordable housing as well. So I think that's a really important aspect. I also think that it's really interesting to try to wrap your head around how we can be a partner there. And that's whether that's providing our own people volunteering on the weekends to help some of these organizations. I think that's key. I think you have to be authentic and you have to be in your community, serving your community. And one of the things I love about working Swinerton is that's already baked in. And I think it's a really great aspect of not only the company, but the people I get to work with every single day. Well, I think a critical component of building resilient and thriving communities is having cohesion at every level and having and fostering a place of belonging that everyone can see themselves in. Our NIMBYism policies that we've practiced for so many years in this country are not the way to do it. We need to start to rethink what does it mean for community and how do we see ourselves in there with a sense of belonging.